Good morning. The date today is February 27, Tuesday. The Insurance Committee of the Tennessee House of Representatives of the 113th General Assembly is now in session. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Representatives Sapicki, Davis, Freeman, Helton Haynes, Hemmer, Hicks of Hawkins, Hill, Johnson of Montgomery, Johnson of Knox, Lafferty, Mitchell, Ritchie, Rudd, Rudder, Sparks, Terry, Thompson, Vice Chairman Martin of Carroll, Chairman Kumar. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Members, do we have any personal orders? Seeing none, we have a short calendar of 3 bills. The first bill is House Bill 1939 by Representative Parkinson. We have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have an amendment, if we can get that amendment on.
Yes, I have 014050.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. Without objection, we are attaching the amendment. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The amendment goes on the bill. Now you're recognized on your amended bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. Good morning, committee. What this bill does is there was a little ambiguity as to whether or not an individual that lives inside of the same residence as an individual that needs care through our providers from TennCare, whether or not they would be eligible for employment. What this bill does, it clears that up, and it says that an individual can live inside the same residence and work for one of our providers and provide care for one of their relatives. And that's what the bill does. The amendment is even more clarifying language as to specifically the programs that we're talking about through TennCare. So we were able to get together with TennCare, get some more clarifying language. This is their language in the amendment. And, so all parties are on board. And I think at this point, I don't want to speak for TennCare, but they told me they were deferred on the bill now.
Members, do we have any questions? Oh, Chairman Sparks, you're recognized.
I was just curious, how much are the folks being paid, the family members? I was asking that to them when they came by.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not nearly enough. These are not knock it out of the park paying jobs, but I can tell you this bill is also a jobs bill because it will increase or help to reduce the shortage of people that are working for these providers in providing home care for people in need.
I totally agree. Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Chair, if you don't mind.
Yes, you're recognized.
Mr. Chair, I also have someone here that wants to speak to the bill. If we can go out of session for a minute and hear from them.
Without objection, we will go out of session and hear the testimony. I have Aaron Richardson. Thank you for coming. Kindly push the button that has an icon and make sure the red light is on with your speaker, and please identify yourself. And you have 3 minutes. Or 5 years.
Not sure which. Okay, now it's working. Thank you, Chairman Kumar and committee members. My name is Erin Richardson, and I'm here today to discuss House Bill 1939. I am an attorney turned special education advocate and the director of policy and advocacy at the Down Syndrome Association of Middle Tennessee. But my most important and most favorite job is being mom to my 3 children, including my 23-year-old son, Graham, who has a significant disability. Graham was diagnosed with a rare chromosomal abnormality at the age of 14 months, and later with autism and epilepsy. Tell you a little bit about him. He loves music, singing, working puzzles on his iPad. It's incredible to watch. He loves Thomas the Tank Engine. He loves Cheez-Its. He loves pizza, but most importantly, he loves his family, his people, and he loves his life. He is truly the happiest person I know. I tell people that all the time. He wakes up many mornings singing joy to the world. So this is a happy, incredible human, and I am very fortunate to be his mother. Despite his exuberance for life, which is unmatched, Graham is minimally verbal, He requires 24/7 supervision, and he's dependent on others for most of his activities of daily living. Our family was very fortunate to have Graham enrolled in the ECF Choices program about 5 years ago when he turned 18. At the outset, we were told by Graham's support broker that folks living in the home with him could not be paid caregivers. So we took that option off the table from the beginning. We've chosen the consumer direction option, and we've been really very fortunate over the past 5 years to have wonderful caregivers. However, I'm here today to share with you that in all of the work I do with so many Tennessee families, that is certainly the exception to the rule. Many families have a very hard time finding and keeping good caregivers for their family members. As probably some of you know, caring for an individual with a significant disability is not an easy job. And despite welcome investments from the state of Tennessee, it is not very well paid. It's also really hard to find those caregivers who possess the unique combination of being skilled, patient, loving, trustworthy, and also willing to stick around. This is where House Bill 1939 comes in. The truth is that many Tennesseans with disabilities or other conditions, the elderly, et cetera, requiring caregiving would be best cared for by their family members. There's no doubt that no one knows our children, our parents, our loved ones like we do. Just a couple of Graham examples. A stranger would not know if they walked into my house first day on the job that when Graham says green leaf, which is a reference from one of his favorite books, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, he's actually telling me, his mother, to leave. Took us a while to figure that out, but I thought it was pretty clever. 23-year-old certainly has the right from time to time to ask his mother to leave, and that's how he does that with me. More critically and less funny, a stranger also would not know that when a certain sort of expression comes over Graham's face and there's a look in his eyes that he is probably about to have a seizure. So not allowing parents or family members who reside with a loved one to provide paid care to that person, frankly, makes no sense to me, which is makes me glad that we're talking about this bill today. When family members are willing to take on that responsibility, in many instances, preventing their loved ones from being forced, if they can't find adequate care in the home, to move into an unfamiliar and likely much more expensive for the state of Tennessee living situation, we really should applaud and support that sacrifice. So I would ask you to seriously consider this bill. I believe that it would help the state, like some other states, even states around us have recently done, to develop a proactive and very sensible approach to caring for some of our most vulnerable citizens. And with that, I thank you, Chairman Kumar and committee.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Thank you for opening your most personal thoughts and telling us about your family. Members, do we have any questions for Ms. Richardson? Seeing none, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
We will go back into session. Representative Parkinson, do you have anything further to add?
No, I just want to thank Ms. Richardson for coming and sharing her personal story with us also. So,
Members, any questions? Are we ready to vote? Representative Ritchie, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Kumar. Sponsor, and when we spoke about this particular bill, I just have some questions. I know a colleague from the left over here said and asked a question as far as for the compensation amount. I know that your answer, although I could agree with that, I'm looking for more of a definitive. Is the care paid based off of the caregiver, like on a per day basis, or is it based off of the type of care that would be provided?
Representative Parkinson,
thank you, Mr. Chair. These are hourly rate employees.
you're recognized.
And do we know approximately how many households across the state of Tennessee that there would be end up being somebody that would be eligible to be under this particular program because of the how it's worded right now? They're not eligible to be paid for that caregiver. Do we know how many households there are across the state?
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this will not increase the amount of caregivers that are out there. It just makes more eligible to go to work. The budgets that the providers already have in place, those are the budgets. And you know, the amount of employees that they have, those are the amount of employees that they have, unless they have capacity to add more employees. But it will not increase or open the floodgates to people becoming caregivers. They still have to qualify to work for the providers as an employee.
Representative Richard.
And that was the final question I had. As far as for the qualifications to be able to work for for those companies, as far as for being a caregiver, what are those qualifications that are there?
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Those are basic caregiver qualifications. You know, this is not nurses and doctors being employed by these caregivers. These are basic caregivers through home health agencies that provide caregivers to homes.
Representative Richard. Chairman Lafferty, you're recognized.
Well, thank you, Chairman. And just sparked a thought in my mind. One of his questions about will it increase the number of caregivers? My thought then went to, what about the hours of caregivers? Right now, if somebody's driving to come see you, provide services, they're there for a limited period of time. If we've got someone that is in need of care, but not 24/7 care, not 10 hours care, not 8 hours care, but maybe just needs some help preparing some meals, some bathing in the evening, something like that. How would we differentiate between somebody that is on that easier rung to manage, just needs a few hours a day, versus, I guess, how are we going to keep people from being full-time employees that already live in the house when maybe the person needing care is not in a very difficult situation that they are, but in more of a situation where they just need a few hours a day? How would TennCare differentiate that?
And I think I understand your question. TennCare wouldn't actually do it. It's the providers. The providers that employ the individual, they know the type of care that the individual that they're caring for needs, and they adjust those hours internally as to that employee. And so even if it wasn't a person living in the household, let's say, for instance, if there is an individual that's being cared for and they have someone else that doesn't live inside the household, and this individual only needs 4 hours of care per day, somebody to come in, make meals, so on and so forth, that provider sets that schedule.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? If not, we are ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 1939, please say aye. Opposed? The ayes prevail. The bill goes on to calendar and rules.
Thank you,
for
Mr. Chair.
coming.
Thank you, committee. Thank you so much. Keep hope alive.
Member, for convenience, let us do item 3. Chairman Hicks, are you okay? We didn't surprise you.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
House Bill 1998, we have a motion and a second. So you're recognized on this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, House Bill 1998 is all about rates that we pay our ground-based ambulance services for non-emergency runs. Currently, the ambulance services are paid 67.5% of the Medicaid rate for each TennCare non-emergency run, and this bill would simply increase that to 100%.
Representative Ritchie, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, sponsor, for bringing this bill. Our air flight services are extremely important. Back in 1997, my brother was flown twice to be able to save his life from an incident that he was in. And I just want to thank you for bringing this and making sure that we can do everything we can to make sure that these folks are able to get up in the air and save lives.
Any other questions? Oh, Representative Hemmer, you're recognized. Oh, Representative Spicky, Chairman Spicky, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I totally support this bill, Chairman Hicks. The one thing I am concerned about is this is going to have to go to Finance Sub, and that Chairman in Finance Sub is notorious for being very difficult on bills with fiscal notes. Do you think this has a good chance on getting past that, Chairman?
Chairman Hicks,
Well,
you have a
Representative.
smart answer.
Chairman Sapicki, that's a tough committee to go to, but I can assure you that this bill will be vetted just like every other bill, and we'll work hard to get it across the finish line.
Thank you, Chairman.
Chairman Spicky, are you? We had allotted a question hour for this, but very good. Seeing no further questions, we are ready to vote. House Bill 1998, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The bill moves on to guess where? Finance, Ways and Means.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee.
For the second item, we'll pass the gavel to Vice Chair Martin.
This brings us to item number 2, House Bill 2905. Motion and second. Chairman Kumar, you're recognized.
Thank you. Members, a common feature of service contracts between tax preparing services and the taxpayer is a limited guarantee that in case the tax preparing service makes a mistake resulting in costs and penalty to the taxpayer service will stand behind it and cover that expense. To make sure that funds are available for coverage of that expense, the tax preparing service at this time has two options. They can secure a surety bond or deposit the expected money in cash with the Department of Commerce. This bill adds a third option, that is they can purchase contractual liability insurance policy that will cover those expenses if they arise because the tax preparing service made a mistake. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Members, are there any further questions for the sponsor? Question on the bill has been called. Seeing no further questions, are we ready to vote? All those in favor of sending House Bill 2905 to calendar and rules signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. House Bill 2905 moves on to calendar and rules.
We can just adjourn it. Members, thank you for your patience. That ends our calendar for today. Without objection, we stand adjourned.